Welcome to the place of excess. I have so many books that I want to read this month, and it's not going to happen. There's no way it's going to happen. Not even I can read this many books in 1 month. My TBR is bigger than some people's year-long reading goal, so I had to do something different. The reason that this has come about is because I have some books that I have to read, but all like Dickens, Trollope, my book group pick, and some books for university, for my graduate degree. But so those books have to be read. But at the same time, there are 3 readathons that I want to do. There are so many readathons in November, and there were at the beginning of October, I had my eye on like 8 of them, and I have whittled it down to 3. So they are one I do every November, and have for a few years now, and that is Nonfiction November. And then there are 2 that I've never done. One, because this is the inaugural year, and that is the Bloomin Readathon. Bloomin Readathon is hosted by Allie V and somebody else. I will post their videos below. Nonfiction November, I think everybody knows, is hosted by Olive at A Book Olive. And this year I'm going to do for the very first time. I've watched other people do it before, especially last year. I think it got a lot of hype last year. This year I'm going to participate in Indigathon, and I'm mostly doing that just because I've been reading a lot of Indigenous authors this year, and I'm teaching Indigenous history, a unit for Washington State history with my middle schoolers right now. And I would just like to participate in Indigathon. You're falling. I am incredibly excited to participate in all 3 of these readathons. All 3 of them are a month long, and that's how they ended up actually being the ones that I chose out of the 8 or 9 that I've been interested in. I chose 3 that were a full month. And then I started, as you do, to make TBRs for the readathon, right? But I had 3 TBRs for 3 readathons, and I have over 50 books on my TBR, which is an issue. So what I have devised is a fun game. At least I think it's fun. I have corresponded numbers to each of the books, and then created 3 different mugs with little slips of paper in them with the numbers, and I'm gonna pick 5 numbers from each of the readathons. So this mug is the Bloomin Readathon mug. This mug is the Indigathon mug. And this mug is the Nonfiction November mug. So I'm going to pull 5 books, or 5 slips of paper, from each of the mugs and create a 15-book TBR. And then as I finish a title over the course of the month, I will pick a new slip of paper. So you will know my initial 15-book TBR going into the month, but you'll have to watch my wrap-up to find out what I actually end up reading in total at the end. Or you can follow me on Goodreads, or you can follow me on Instagram, and you'll know in real time as I finish these books. But if you only watch me here, then you'll have to come back for my TBR, not for my TBR, for my wrap-up of November to find out how many books I read for each category, what titles they were. But before I do that, I want to show you, now I do have some books that I'm going to read that have not arrived yet. And I do have some books I'm going to read that, or possibly read, that are on my library app as audiobooks only. So I'm going to show you the physical books that I have. Believe me, that's more than enough to get you started. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to show you what I have. So first I have my possibilities for the Bloomin Readathon. I'm not going to go over which category each fulfills. Most of them can fulfill multiple categories, and I'll decide, because I'll want to get a bingo. So I'll decide as I read what category it corresponds with. But these are the physical copies that I have right now of books. In total, I have 27 options for the Bloomin Readathon. There are 25 categories, and I have 27 options. But I don't have all 27 here to show you, so I'll show you what I have. One possibility is Darker Shade of Magic. Another possibility is Beheld. Within These Wicked Walls. Mrs. Pringle of Fairacre. Spinning Silver. Adequate Yearly Progress. Yours Cheerfully, which has actually ended up on a couple of different TBRs since it arrived, and it just keeps getting bumped. So here it is again. The Excellent Lombards. Circe. The Shipping News. The Late Bloomers Club. The Mermaid and Mrs. Hancock. Flight from Stonewick. Buffalo Girls. The Mystery of Edwin Drood, which will get read. I'm hoping it just gets picked as a pick, but if it doesn't, I will read it no matter what this month. An Irish Country Cottage. The Mistletoe Matchmaker. The Curiosity Keeper. The Lace Reader. The Beast's Garden. The Wish Book Christmas. Sophie's Heart. The Necromancer. The Penny Pinchers Club. And finally, A Storm of Echoes. So first I'm going to pick 5 books, and then I'll go a little bit more in depth into the 5 books that are my first 5 choices for the Bloomin Readathon. So let's see. We got it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, so the first 5 books that I will... Crows. So the first 5 books that I will be reading for the Bloomin Readathon are Buffalo Girls by Larry McMurtry. I've never read anything by Larry McMurtry before, and I plan on reading Lonesome Dove in the upcoming, where's my coffee? In the upcoming year. I have so many mugs around me, I couldn't find my coffee. I plan on reading Lonesome Dove in the upcoming year in 2022. And so I'm also going to read Buffalo Girls, which I think might have, for the Bloomin Readathon, I think it might be LGBTQIA+. It also may be unromantic love, and it also may be romantic love. It's also taking place before 1990, so it could fit any of those options. I don't know where I'm going to put it. I suppose it could also turn out to be a book that looks fine on the cover, but rips you apart. So I don't know where I'll put it. I'm going to read it and then decide where it goes on the bingo card. The Shipping News, which I picked up from my local library bookstore, and did so because I have been digging reading books set in Newfoundland recently. I have never read any, oh no I did, I read Barkskins, but I've never read The Shipping News, and I've never seen the movie. I just know that it is set in Newfoundland and that it won the Pulitzer Prize. So I'm really excited to read this one. I'm glad. I was hoping to get to this one this month, and I'm really excited that it ended up in my first 5 fiction choices. The Mistletoe Matchmaker. I think this one is going to be super lighthearted. Oh, I don't know where this is going to fit. Again, it could fit anywhere. I'm going to read it and then decide where it fits on the bingo card. The Mistletoe Matchmaker is, I think, a book that's going to make me happy. That's why I put it in the pile. And it is the 3rd book in the series that I can never remember the name of, the Finfern Peninsula series, by Felicity Hayes McCoy. And I read the first 2 books over the summer, and I put off reading the 3rd because obviously it is more of a holiday themed or holiday set book, and so I'm excited to finally pick this up again. It does seem like it is a companion, but not necessarily about the same people, so I'm excited about that too. I could be wrong about that, but that's what it seems like. Then I have Adequate Yearly Progress, which I got from Book Outlet, and it was an impulse buy, but it is about teachers, and I am a teacher, and I am having a really hard year, and this is a comedy, and I'm hoping that it will be relatable for me. And then I have this one, which is The Wish Book Christmas by Lynn Austin. I have no idea what this is about, but I am excited to find out. It says, best friends Audrey Barrett and Eve Dawson can't wait to celebrate Christmas in post-war America. They are thrilled about starting new traditions with their 5-year-old sons, even daring to hope there might be fresh beginnings ahead for both of them too. But when the 1951 Sears Christmas Wish Book arrives, I loved the Sears Christmas Wish Book, the boys start obsessing over every toy in it. Audrey and Eve realize their most important task is teaching them the true meaning of the holiday by giving them presents, not just asking for them. Oh, by giving presents, not just asking for them. Heartwarming tale that unfolds reminds us all that sometimes the most meaningful gifts are the ones we least expect and often don't deserve. So, just a feel-good Christmas story. 'Tis the season. Last year, I did not anticipate wanting to start reading because in October, I didn't feel it. So I didn't work any like holiday themed books into my November TBR. I just thought I will do all of that in December. But then it's like a switch. Boom, November hits and suddenly I want Christmas. So I definitely did a preemptive strike here and started working those titles into my November TBR so that I can do a little bit of both. Because last year I ended up completely abandoning my nonfiction November TBR in favor of just impulse reads, what I wanted to read. And while fun, not helpful. So those are the first 5 books that I will read for the Bloomin Readathon. Such good choices. Let's talk about Nonfiction November. So for Nonfiction November, there is no bingo card. There are 4 one-word prompts, which I find really intriguing. I think a lot of people do. And those are collection, style, industry, and treatment. So each of the books that I'm going to show you, and with the exception of one, which is a pre-order, I have all the physical copies of books that are in this jar. So I'm going to show you what I have to choose from. There are 22 of them. They will all fit one or more of those categories in some way, shape, or form. The one book that I don't have a physical copy of is Will Smith's memoir, which will be released early next month. So that is a possible book that I might pull right now. And if that's the case, then I will just have to wait until it arrives to start reading it. But the other, and so they have sticky notes on them to remind me of what I picked them for. So this may take a little bit longer, but my options are The Artful Dickens, The Indifferent Stars Above, the graphic novel version of Anne Frank's diary, The Marriage Bureau, the true story of how 2 matchmakers arranged love in wartime London, Autumn, my very first Karl Ove Naugersgaard, I don't know how to say his name, I apologize. If I enjoy that series, I may continue on to read his My Struggle series, but I'm not sure. England's Magnificent Gardens, Gucci, The House of Gucci, a graphic novel about Charlotte Bronte before Jane Eyre, Natalie Wood, The Complete Biography, The Bronte Cabinet, 3 Lives in 9 Objects, Oneida, From Free Love Utopia to the Well-Set Table, Praying with Jane Eyre, Reflections on Reading as a Sacred Practice. This is not a religious book. This is using non-religious texts as sacred texts. How to Be a Heroine, or What I've Learned from Reading Too Much. Tiny Little Charles Dickens Biography by Jane Smiley. The Island at the Center of the World. Parisians. Upstairs Girls, Prostitution in the American West. I read a lot of this, but not all of it, so I want to start over and finish reading it. Marie Antoinette, The Journey. I actually bought this at Versailles. Liberty, The Lives and Times of 6 Women in Revolutionary France. Fox and I, An Uncommon Friendship. So, from nonfiction November's Cup, and see what we get. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If one of these is Will, I'll probably put it back in the cup since it hasn't come yet, and I do want to be able to get started right away. I think it comes out on the 9th. One of them is Will. So I'm just going to fold this back up and pick a new one and put Will back in. All right, so the first 5 books that I will read for Nonfiction November are The Indifferent Stars Above, The Harrowing Saga of the Donner Party. This is written by the same man who wrote The Boys in the Boat, which is a phenomenal book. So I'm really looking forward to reading this one, even though it is about the Donner Party, which will be very difficult to read about, I'm sure. This fits the category or the prompt. I'm going to say it fits the prompt of treatment. And I'm thinking about how we treat the story, how we treat the memory of this terrible mistake and judgment that led to terror and making really hard decisions that have been kind of treated like a social joke for a really long time. Treatment. Also, how possibly they treated each other. So, treatment. I also chose out of the cup Anne Frank's diary, the graphic adaptation. This one is also for treatment. This is about how Anne Frank treats the idea of the people who are oppressing her, and also how people treated Anne Frank and other Jewish men, women, children. So, treatment. It's also, could also be style, the style in which the story is being told. Graphic novel versus diary. I also chose Oneida, which is From Free Love Utopia to the Well-Set Table. I knew nothing about this, but it sounded really intriguing, so I went ahead and got it. Who knows the history of their spoons? Like, and who knew the history of spoons started in free love in the 1800s? We'll find out. We'll find out about it. But this is industry. I also picked The Small Charles Dickens by Jane Smiley. And again, I'm going with treatment, and I'm thinking specifically about Charles Dickens's treatment of women and Charles Dickens's treatment of Victorian society. And then I also have The Fox and I, An Uncommon Friendship. And I'm counting this as a collection because it is a collection of incidences. Joey, stop. It is a collection of incidences between a fox and a person. So I may be stretching with that one a little bit, but I'm going with it. The Fox and I is on the list. Now, finally, we have 11 options for the 8 categories in Indigathon. And I have already read all the books that I own by Indigenous authors. And so I have ordered 4 books that I know that I want to own. And then I also have borrowed audio copies of some other books that I very well may want to own, but I'm going to possibly listen to first. So I'm going to pull, I'm not going to show you what I have on my list. I'm not going to show you the 11 books. What I'm going to do instead is just pull my little slips of paper and then go through with you the 5 books that I've chosen and show you photographs of them. Because the 4 that I have ordered should arrive today or tomorrow, but they have not arrived at the time of the filming of this video. So here we go. I'm going to pick 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So the books that I picked, 2 of them are books that I've ordered physical copies of. One is The Sea in Winter by Christine Day. I teach to my 6th graders, or the first book that we read in 6th grade humanities in my classroom is another book by Christina Day, I Can Make This Promise. And so she has a new one out, and it is called Sea in Winter. It is, she is a Salish author, and the tribe that my land, the tribe that my land belongs to is the Duwamish, but I could not locate a Duwamish author so in print, and so I chose to go with a Salish author, which is very close, and that is Sea in Winter. And then a older protagonist, female protagonist, is another book that I just pulled that I also have ordered a physical copy of. It's a pre-order. I think it'll get here on the 4th. That is The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. I'm pushing it a little bit for that prompt because I think the main character is actually a dead elderly woman, but I'm going with it. And Louise Erdrich is one of my favorite authors, Indigenous or no, and so I'm really excited to read that one. And then the other 3 books that I have are books that I have in audio from my library. So I will be reading Fatty Legs, Lakota America, as both of those are nonfiction options, and Carrie, which I requested. I think it's a nonfiction option as well, and I remember it has like a bird on the cover, but I don't remember exactly what it's about. So you'll have to watch my recap to find out what that's about. The other possible books that I have for Indigathon, I will quickly share with you and then put them back in the thing. Oh no, this is not Indigathon. This is Nonfiction November. The other books I have for Indigathon are One Story, One Song, Poet Warrior. I'm really excited about that one. It's Chief Seattle, An American Sunrise, Apple in the Middle, which is the group read for the Indigathon, and Race to the Sun. So those are all possibilities. They all fit different categories in different ways. And I'm sure I'll read at least 5 more of them probably for a total of 10 over the course of the month. But that is it. Those are my 15. I'm reading Carrie, Lakota America, Fatty Legs, Sentence, and Sea in Winter, along with The Indifferent Stars Above, Charles Dickens, The Fox and I, Oneida, Anne Frank's Diary, and the Christmas Wish Book, Adequate Yearly Progress, The Mistletoe Matchmaker, The Shipping News, and Buffalo Girls. So those are my first 15 books that I will be reading or listening to for the month of November. And as I finish, let's say I finish Buffalo Girls, I'll just pull another number from the jar for that readathon, for the Bloomin Readathon. If I finish Anne Frank, which I will very quickly, I will then just pull a new book, new option from Nonfiction November. And when I finish reading Fatty Legs, I will pull another thing from Indigathon, and I will work my way through as many of these books as I reasonably can in the month of November. I want to read them all. I'm excited about all of them. And for those that don't get read in the month of November, we'll make a new plan. So that's how I'm tackling 3 readathons in the month of November and keeping my sanity while trying to read 50 books, more than 50 books. How do you plan for your readathon involvement? Do you do readathons? I really like the community of it. I like the idea that I am reading Indigenous works with people all around the globe. I like the idea that I am, I like to play the game. Like, I like the Bloomin Readathon because I like Allie V's channel, but also because I just really like the bingo board. So most of these books, the vast majority of these books have come straight off of my shelves as unread picks that need to be read. It's really helpful for me to have a game like that, to get through a lot of the books that I own. Yeah, so I call this all a win-win-win. I'm really excited about this stack of books that I get to start reading in November. And yeah, watch my Goodreads, watch my Instagram, and watch at the end of the month my November wrap-up to find out what I have read in the month of November. Thanks for being here. Bye.